can't. Don't even get me started on the love story.
Baby, you got some stuff with you. This is some good food. Some good freaking food, okay? Just put some antifreeze in his food and he won't have any complaints after that. I'm not well at all, and frankly, I don't think this author is either, because what the—
Somebody sedate me.
No, this girl is done for. She's done for. Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kayla, and today we are on a very important mission. I know some of y'all just heard that are like, this girl is being dramatic, but no, not to me, okay? Because we are undertaking a month-long reading TBR challenge, and I am so excited. I've decided for June, I am going to let Goodreads challenges curate my TBR for the month. Okay, so let me tell you how we got here. So I have been thinking for a long time about ways to kind of get out of my comfort zone and try things off my TBR that I'm just a little bit scared of grabbing. And within the past couple years, Goodreads launched a new kind of element to their regular reading challenge. Goodreads already for years has had the yearly goal of tracking your reading and setting amount of books you want to read per year. But a new thing that's kind of rolled out, I want to say within the past like 2 to 3 years, has been these Goodreads challenges. I'll try to put a visual on the screen so you guys can see what I'm talking about. But within your reading challenge for the year, Goodreads is creating these like seasonal, quarterly, whenever season they want to, esque challenges that you can complete based on these curated lists that Goodreads puts out of book recommendations. So there's a bunch of challenges you can do. I feel like there's at least 9 per season or rollout they do this. But I picked 5 of the little bookmarks that they advertised for this month, or this quarter, I guess. Went through the articles that were attached to them and picked 5 books off my TBR that fit these challenges, and I'm really excited to read. So yes, that is what we're going to be conquering in this vlog. The first challenge I selected was the Community Picks Challenge, and this goes along with the article 136 reader-approved mysteries and thrillers of the past decade. And this one gave me a lot of options. Obviously, a whole decade's worth of recommendations has a few picks, but I decided to go with something that came out just this year and I've seen really talked about. Dear Debbie by Frieda McFadden. Of course, this is a thriller. I don't really read this genre that much, and I've never read Frieda McFadden before specifically. However, she is the author of The Housemaid, which I'm sure you've heard already. It's a huge book. It got turned to the movie that also was a box office smash. Like, this author is really well trusted, so I have a feeling this is gonna go well. Our second challenge is the Trending Books Challenge, and this one is following the article Hot and Fresh, the new hit books according to fellow readers. And for this one, I selected Good Spirits by BK Borison. Now, I feel like this might seem like an unusual pick, and I understand because this cover is giving very much Christmas. I'm pretty sure this is a holiday romance. However, number one, I'm not really one of those people like need to read a Christmas romance during the holiday season. Like, I can pretty much enjoy it whenever. But also, BK Borison, I have read from before. I read the first book in her Love Light Farms series, which I really enjoyed. So I'm pretty sure that this is going to be promising. Ooh, now we have our third book, and I feel like this was the hardest one for me to pick for. This one was the Marathon Reader Challenge, and the article is 100 doorstopper books to level up your spring reading. And I almost was not gonna do this one because a lot of these were like really big high fantasies, things I was like, I have no business reading right now. But then I saw one book on that list, and this one has been calling my name for quite a while now, okay? She scares me, she terrifies me, but she's been calling my name. And that is Alchemized by Senlinyu. I have actually crazy lore with this book because I knew the original source material, okay? I wanted to be a manacled stan. I tried to read that fanfiction like a million years ago, and I could never get my hands on a physical copy of it, so I just never got around to it. And then I heard this was coming out, and I was like, I know that name. I don't know if this is manacled per se, because manacled was a Hermione fic. So I don't think she'd be publishing that unless she heavily altered the story, but I guess we're gonna find out. This one is a chonker. It's over 1,000 pages. So I'm very scared. Might be putting this off to the end. Our fourth book on this list, which I would say is probably the most hyped book on this list so far this year. Like, this is one I keep hearing everyone talk about, and this is for the Escapist Reads Challenge, and the article is 112 very literal escapist reads to sweep you away this summer. So I picked Yesteryear by Caro Burke. All I know is that it has something to do with trad wives, and that everyone's talking about it. Like, everyone, I feel like, has a different take on this book that I see, from Goodreads to TikTok to whatever. So I'm excited to form my own opinion on this. I feel like it's just gonna cause a lot of stir. And then last but not least, the last challenge I picked for this video is the Summer Reading Challenge, and this goes with the article, Get Ready for a Blockbuster Summer with Adaptation Reading. But the one on my list that I was most excited to read, and that also coincidentally had on my TBR already, was Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. I'm sure you've already seen the movie all over the place. I know it was a huge box office smash as well. I think it stars Ryan Gosling, but of course you got to get to the original source material first. So yes, these are all of our 4 or 5, I'm missing the Kindle, all of our 5 picks for this challenge, and I am so excited. So yes, I am thrilled to be doing this. It is a couple days before June starts. We're still in May, so I'm gonna wrap up my last little books I'm reading this month, and let's get into our June reads. Let's get into this challenge. I never vlog with my glasses on. This is new. This is cute. Hello friends. It is the evening of June 1st, which means our challenge has officially commenced. This morning I went through our selection and decided our first book would be Good Spirits by borison. I thought this would be a good start for a few reasons. First, this is the only author on this list I read from before. And then on top of that, this is the only straightforward romance on this list, so I feel like it's the one I'm most likely going to enjoy. And so far, so good. I already got to the 46 page mark. And I actually didn't know that this was a Christmas Carol retelling, which I love. I love the Christmas Carol. It's like one of my mom's favorite Christmas movies, so I've watched retellings and versions of it like throughout my entire childhood. So this follows our main character, Harriet. She owns an antique shop that used to be owned by her aunt, and she seems to come from this very affluent family. We can tell already that they are a looming shadow in her life, because it opens up to her getting this like Christmas card. At the same time, she, you know, secretly wants to approval, that's your family type thing. And all of a sudden she gets presented with this Christmas ghost that appears. We find out his name is Nolan, and we actually get his perspective. We already have gotten chapters from his point of view, which I was not expecting either. I thought this would be only told from our female main character's point of view, so I actually like that we're getting both of them. And he pays her this visit and is like kind of giving her the whole Christmas Carol spiel. She's familiar with the story as well, type thing. You need to go visit your past memories so you can learn from them, yada yada yada. And of course, Harriet is not acting like your average person that Nolan is helping. She is very resistant to this, and like, I didn't do anything wrong. I'm not like some villain or criminal or like have some sordid past. And that's pretty much as far as I got. I literally just stopped at the part where she's about to take his hand and like go revisit some of her first memories. So we haven't seen anything yet. It's actually pretty late right now. I want to read a little bit more of this before bed, but I didn't want to get any further without updating you guys and letting you know I started. So now that we're all caught up, let's continue. We'll get nice and cozy and we'll get further along in this book. It has been a little bit since we last talked. That night that I was reading, I passed out. I was so tired, but I have read a little bit since then, and I'm now halfway-ish through Good Spirits. I am on page 250. Through revisiting Harriet's memories, we are coming more to terms with her family life and how she kind of felt neglected and more like a black sheep in her family, very like without love and affection that she kind of wanted, and how she did kind of find that in her Aunt Matilda in a way, but since she's passed away, how she's kind of dealing with that grief. And then we have Nolan, who's going through a sea of changes. We are basically slowly having Nolan come more into contact with his human side, I guess you would put it. In this world, ghosts don't really feel anything, right? They can't taste anything, they can't smell anything. But Nolan, for the first time since seeing and being with Harriet, is kind of like seeing life again. Very clearly, him and Harriet's connection and them becoming more and more intertwined together is having a positive impact on him and changing his like way of interacting with the world, which is very interesting. I want to continue reading today because it's so nice out, but I have to go go pick up my mom from work, and I really want one of those Dunkin' refreshers. I've been craving one ever since my sister brought one home last week, so I think I'm gonna go and pick one up. I'm probably gonna get to her job a little bit early if I leave now, so maybe we can read in the car. Okay, I'm gonna throw this in my bag, and I'm gonna take you guys along with me. I ended up getting this pink pineapple refresher with limeade. So freaking good. I already drank like half of it. Like, my mom actually said she's gonna get out sooner than I thought, so I don't know how much time I have to read, but let's sit here and crack some of this open a little bit. You guys, look what just came in. It has actually been so long since I picked these books out. I don't even know what I got. Okay, first I have Main Characters by Bobby Palmer. This says some love stories are bigger than just two people. The cover is kind of cute. Okay, a little green moment. And then I also got a bonus book. I had an extra credit, so I got And Back to You. Yeah. Oh, and Now Back to You by BK Borison. This is the second in that, I think it's called, is it First Time Caller? The first book is called First Time Caller at least, and I own it. It's somewhere over there, and this is the second, so eventually I'm going to read that. Of course, after reading Good Spirits in this vlog, I'm kind of on a BK Borison love train. I'm enjoying her. I want to read more of her stuff. Okay, let's talk about the books that we've been reading lately. I had a little bit of an update. I finished Good Spirits by BK Borison a couple of days ago, and I landed on a 4 out of 5 for this book. This literally felt like reading Fireside and like cute cozy socks, hot cocoa in hand. Literally felt like Christmas. I know obviously I'm not in Christmas, it's middle of June, but this really did feel so warm and cozy. The characters, the story, the retelling, everything about it felt really magical. We really see Harriet have this evolution in herself through her flashbacks, going from very reserved and doing what her parents want, trying to become a lawyer, to eventually breaking free of that and getting to know her Aunt Matilda. And then of course Nolan, seeing him kind of become more in touch with his human self throughout the book, not only, you know, kind of mentally getting to know Harriet and through seeing her past and developing feelings for her, of course, but also physically you see this transformation. He starts feeling things, like he starts bruising and having dreams and all these things, and becoming in touch with that, which is, I think, a nice metaphor for the whole thing. And also there's just a lot of chemistry. The smell was good, it was very hot. And we also got peeks of the Grim Reaper. I don't remember his name, they mentioned it, but he's getting his own book. I think it's called Grim Tidings, and I'm sad for that. I kind of want to read that. I think it's coming out in September. Okay, now I'm ready to talk to you guys about the next book I picked up for this, Yesteryear by Caro Burke. I am definitely like on the edge of my seat for this so far. It's really gripping me. The first part of it, which is like the first 30 pages, sets up who we are following, which is Natalie Mills. She is a modern day trad wife. Now, keyword modern day. It's kind of written like parody style almost. You're following her and her monologue, and she's talking about her gorgeous house and how she has all these million followers on social media, how she has 5 kids, 1 on the way. The names of the kids are like so funny: Jessa and Junebug, Stetson, Samuel, Clementine, which is like, these are not bad names individually. I'm not trying to say that, but like, you know, like exactly what type of person she is trying to create, and like, I'm just living for it. And she has a producer, and her husband is like not actually like good for anything. He is supposed to be like this big rancher, but he really only does like the parts he wants to, which is like milk the cow and just run around on the tractor, while he actually has ranch hands that actually do all the work. So then, like I said, that's the first 30 pages. And now, because I'm on page 100, so I'm like a little bit into it, I'm around 25%. And she is all of a sudden like back in time. She's in her same house, and it looks familiar to her because it is her same house, but she is now in 1855. She doesn't have her secret pantry with her dishwasher and microwave hidden away, so she looks like all rustic to the camera, but really that's what she's using now. None of that. It's uncanny too, because she's not with her family. Like, she's with her kids, but like they're not her kids. They're weird versions of her kids. Like, they're other like variations of her kids. I don't know if I'm explaining this right, but like it's weird. It's uncanny. Her husband is him, but he's not. Like, he's colder and different, and she's like acting crazy. She's like, I don't know who y'all are. Why do you guys have me here? Like, you have me captive. This is weird. Like, this is strange. But then also, while you're reading those passages, you're getting Natalie's real life but flashbacks from it. So you're learning about her mom and her sister and how she grew up in this small town, and she went to Harvard, and she's so different than everyone at Harvard, right? Because Harvard's obviously very progressive. She's like, why are women so angry at men? And why do women say they want to get married and have kids, but they talk shit about it the entire time? And it's like funny. Like, it's funny, like, in her mindset. She's obviously like an unlikable character. I would not want to be friends with someone in real life like this, but you're in her mind and seeing it from her point of view, and it's so fascinating how she like villainizes everyone else, and everyone else is wrong but her, and like she's the correct one. Like, it's kind of like a mindfuck, but I'm surprisingly liking it. It feels like satirical. Like, it feels like we're all in on the joke. So I'm gonna keep reading. This week actually a really busy week. I'm getting my car tomorrow, which is exciting. I'm gonna show you guys. This car was a victim of a hit and run, RIP, in front of my old college apartment. But it was a blessing in disguise because I have a new car and I love him to death, and he's coming tomorrow. Hopefully I'll be done with Yesteryear by this point, or that point, I should say, and then I will be on to our next book. I'm going to go to bed, or get ready to go to bed, read Yesteryear to fall asleep, show you my new car tomorrow, and then we'll continue reading. Yes. Oh my god, guys, say hello to my car. I am so excited. I feel like I'm like still in disbelief. I feel like it's giving rental. The way I'm driving this around, the way I'm whipping this around, like it doesn't feel real. I love this car so much. I'm actually in the parking lot, random parking lot. I drove my mom to a doctor's appointment because she's not feeling well, and it's like a specialist, and it was 40 minutes away, so I got some good time testing this baby out. I love it. His name is Jordan, so everyone say hi to Jordan, everyone say hello. For like actual like logistics, is a 2025 Nissan Versa. We got it for a steal on Carvana. That's what you saw earlier today, the truck lifting it and dropping it off. I want to go do like the car vending machine thing where like it comes down, but that's like a good like hour drive away. I feel like doing that. I just had you guys bring it to my door. But yeah, that was today's big adventure. I did read more of Yesteryear last night. I read a lot actually. I was in a really big reading mood. I'm on page 250. Definitely over halfway through. It is still very, very weird and odd, and I'm still really gripped and enjoying it. I think it's so interesting, the contradictions of this woman's life. We are still in the point of the book where she is in the past in 1855 with her family and like freaking out, also juxtaposed with these flashbacks from her real life. And we're really seeing how her relationship with Caleb, her husband, unfolded, early beginning of their marriage, having kids, his bumness for lack of a better word. And like I think I said earlier, Caleb is so malleable, right? So they get $5 million from his parents and they buy this ranch because she's, you know, saying at least let's give him something to do, let's put him to work. And not really successfully. They spent a lot of money on renovations and they're not turning a profit. Anything, they're losing money in all of their planting and work they're doing on the farm. So now trying to become an influencer and sell herself and her brand and her family, and that is how she sees and wants to make money. And so she really is the breadwinner here. Yes, his parents are the ones that gave them the money to start the farm, but she's the one that's making it lucrative. They're not turning a profit from the farm. He's not providing jack shit to the family, which is so, again, different than what a real trad wife would be. A real trad wife would not be a social media influencer. She would not be this businesswoman, this boss woman, you know, stepping in for her husband, all that stuff. She would be docile. It's just fascinating. It's just fascinating. I really can't say I've read a book like this before, and I love that feeling. I love that feeling where I'm like, this is ground that hasn't been touched, at least by me. Like, this is like something I haven't really discovered or explored before in reading. So hopefully I'll finish this soon. If not tonight, then tomorrow, and I will give you my final thoughts. Oh my god, I have had a very interesting 24 hours. I was originally set to go to LBI yesterday morning. My freaking car was in the shop forever. Anyway, I have some reading updates. The point of the vlog here. While I did put a kink in my reading plans, I did unexpectedly have a lot of reading time yesterday, and so I did make some headway. First, we have to talk about Yesteryear. I did end up finishing this a couple of days ago, actually. Overall, I just really enjoyed the conversations that were being had in this book about kind of the person you are as a human being versus your online persona and the gap between that and trying to bridge that gap. I liked the way that she talked about social media in general. There's a specific way that she kind of talks about the two-way experience between a creator and their audience, and that yes, we like hate trad wives, right? Like, or maybe not all of us, but a lot of people do. They hate on them and they leave hate comments and they're mean and they're nasty and they're saying that they hate her and who watches this crap and this is awful. But it's like, you're commenting. You are watching, you're keeping tabs on me, you're going to my account, and even though it's hate viewing, you're viewing nonetheless. Yes, you might be a liberal woman and not believe in traditional marriage, but at the end of the day, I'm raking in my millions and you're not, and leaving a hate comment, and how you really need me to survive, and how it's like she's a shark and all of us are like these little fish like feeding off of her to survive. And as much as she needs us there, like we need to be there to make her money, we need her to survive and have someone to attack. And I feel like that back and forth relationship is also very interesting. I definitely think this would be like a perfect book club book. This is the type of book I want to like read like amongst like a group chat and be able to be like, oh my god, like can we talk about like what she just said here? Like there's things to unpack, you know? Overall, I settled on a 4.5. There was a twist at the ending that I know a lot of people have talked about. I don't know, I just felt like it kind of came out of nowhere, which I know is like the point and it's like supposed to be a surprise, but I feel like it added a whole new element of Natalie's character and what she was doing that we didn't really get to explore fully. And it started having a conversation that was interesting, but I feel like it was kind of just added in a little late, so we couldn't like get into it enough. But that's like my only minor critique. Besides that, this book was great and I could definitely see why it's one of the most talked about of the year. It's definitely like a conversation starter. Okay, and then speaking of a good book, like I said, I finished it a couple days ago, so I have moved on to our next read, which, drumroll please, is Alchemized by Senlinyu. I understand why this was selected under that like door stopper article, because this book literally feels like a workout. Like I'm going to grab this and hit someone over the head with it and do some like serious damage. It's crazy. I am already 300 pages in, which you might think, Kayla, that is pretty far. You probably read the whole damn book already. No, we are this far. Wait, you can't see it from that way. This far. Yes, only this far. We have our work cut out for us, ladies and gents. I think that is why it has intimidated me so, but I am fully into it now, and I'm loving it. Guys, I'm loving it. This is some good food. Some good freaking food. Okay, so first of all, the whole alchemized and manacle thing, which one is which, like how they tie, I figured that out. I did some digging. Manacled is how I knew senlinyu, and it is a Germani Handmaid's Tale-esque fan fiction that was on AO3. I wanted to read that book so bad. If you guys do not know, I grew up as a Wattpad warrior, okay? I have heard of Manacled before, but reading this book took me down this whole deep dive of like book bindings, and I really wanted to own this book physically and get it bound, because when I heard the premise of it, I was like, oh, this book is about to destroy me. Like, I need to own this and have it in my possession. And it was so hard to find, or they were so expensive. They were like 40 or 50 bucks like each. Mind you, like people were selling in like 3 parts. And I was like, oh my god, I can't afford this. I tried to go to my sister. I begged her. She's like artsy and crafty. I was like, please, 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 like make me this book, and she was like, do you know how much work it's going to take? But from what I can tell, she's really changed a lot of that original story for this. Maybe it'd be different if I read the original fic. I'm actually kind of glad I didn't, because I feel like this would alter my experience, which is what a lot of people said. But yes, this took me a minute to get into. The magic system is very complex. I'm gonna try to give the most condensed version of this summary as possible, because I feel like I could talk and explain this for hours. Hello, it is future Kayla, live from the editing bay, class in hand. I really tried to sum up the plot as best as I can, but I was straight rambling for 20 something minutes, so I'm just going to give you guys the bare bones now. So we are dropped into this kingdom called Palladium, and in this world, magic is kind of treated like very scientific. It's called alchemy. The main form of alchemy is being able to manipulate inorganic compounds, such as like metal, right? But if you rare and special individuals are born with the power of vivamancy, which is the manipulation of organic compounds. Prime example of this use is necromancy, which is the reanimation of the dead. And this is a huge no-no for the Holdfast family, which is like the reigning family of Palladium, right? They're seen as divine, they're seen as holy. And this is also the main crux of the war, okay? So we have the resistance and the Holdfast on one side, who think necromancy and vivamancy is bad and awful. And then we have the others, Moro and crew, who want to reanimate the dead and do whatever they can to take over power from the Holdfast. Enter Helena, okay? Now she is not from Palladium. She came to the Institute here to study to become an alchemist. And they discover soon that she has vivamancy, which, like I said, is usually a major no-no. But they make her go through a bunch of hoops. I'm talking, they sterilize this girl, okay? They make her so she cannot have babies, just to prove her worthiness to them, so they can run her dry and use her as a healer during the war. She uses her vivamancy to heal people and is like the best healer that they have. And over time, they wear down Helena to convince her that she is this inherently sinful anomaly, abomination, that she's not supposed to be alive, and that all she has to do is repent and be good to, you know, make up for this, which is why she's so loyal to the resistance, even though they treat her so shittily. And turns out it's all for nothing, because they end up losing the war, and Moro and his side reign supreme. They take Helena in as a prisoner of war, and she is held captive for over a year before someone, like a guard, realizes that her tank is faulty, something's wrong with this, and they pull out for investigation. She gets brought up to Moro, and he is using his vivamancy to get in her mind, and he realizes that something's up, that her mind has these unusual pathways. It seems like it's been altered, and he realizes she is the animancer, which is another form of vivamancy that can control not only the human body but the mind and soul. So Helena, being the animancer that she is, and realizing that this exact situation might happen during the war, uses this animancy to block her memories from everyone, even herself. When they're questioning her, she's like, what are you talking about? I was just a healer the whole time in the hospital. No, you aren't, baby. You're mine. And so Moro's pissed, and he calls on his right-hand man, the High Reeve, Cain Farron, to come and help him. He also has vivamancy, and he's basically tasked to keep going through Helena's mind, trying to retrieve her memories. And obviously, Helena hates his guts, because not only is he the right-hand man to the big bad on the opposing side of the war that she was on, but on top of that, he is the killer of Luke Holdfast's father, her best friend. So safe to say she's not thrilled, but oh no, it gets even worse. Because in this whole new breeding program is introduced, since there are so many casualties after the war, they basically propose this eugenics program, for lack of a better word, where they are offering enticing people to come in and impregnate themselves with other people. And since Moro obviously sees he has his animancer Helena on one side and his High Reeve, who's also a vivamancer, Cain, on the other, what better way to get these magical, powerful alchemist babies together and combining the two? And so on top of keeping her prisoner and violating all of her personal memories, Cain now has to involuntarily impregnate Helena. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Honestly, really impressive how deep this world is built. You can tell when she's talking about the compounds and the elements, stuff like that. I'm like, wow, like this feels so intricate. We haven't gotten too much like the romantic part between Farron and Helena, obviously because, you know, she's prisoner and kept captive by him, and now he's being forced to R-word her, gagging and throwing up in gray, and protests almost the entire way when being forced to do it. Like, you can tell he's not deriving pleasure from it, but at the same time it's like there needs to be a lot in between whatever is now and them getting into a relationship, because there is a lot of mess. I'm gonna go take a shower and I may read a little bit now or I might read a little bit later, but I will catch you guys soon.
It's 5:42 a.m. I've been up for hours. I am on page 853. I am about to get to part 3 of this book, and I am so scared because I have cried like at least 3 or 4 times reading this. I don't know if it's just because I'm tired, but like, oh my god, it's so sad. This is like so sad. You are confused because you're in Helena's mind, but she's lost all of her memories, and then you go back and like you see how everything got there, like, and it's just so fucking twisted. Like, it's so I can't. Don't even get me started on the love story. Even get me started on her and Kane. I just can't. No, because this is literally so unfair. She's remembering and we're having to have them have this conversation, and it's like 10 times worse than the last time. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know what I'm gonna do. So tragic. It's like a car crash, literally from beginning to end. She talks about it all the time. They don't get like a minute of reprieve because they're in fucking war. Like, I don't think they've ever been happy with each other for like more than an hour without something happening. Somebody sedate me. It is raining cats and dogs outside. I did not know it was gonna get this bad and stormy today. It's been like drizzling all morning and I just felt in the mood for like tomato soup and grilled cheese. I know that's not very like June and summer coded, but that's just what the vibes were giving outside. So I was gonna go to Panera and I got ready to leave and stepped outside and it was pouring, like torrential, and I was scared. I was like, I might have to turn around. I figured I would sit here for a bit and talk to y'all and give you an update, and by the time I left, we would be golden. This book has bewitched me, mind, body, and soul, as the writers would say. I have not put this book down. Yesterday was Father's Day. We went to a cookout at my family's house, and I nonstop reading. We came home. I read straight to the night. I stayed up till 5, almost 6 a.m. today reading. I was up till sunrise. I'm not okay. I'm not well at all. And frankly, I don't think this author is either, because what the fuck? And I mean that in the most respectful way possible. What the fuck? This book has taken me through the amount of horrors that I have witnessed. I mean, I know I haven't witnessed, but you know, like read on page and like envisioned. Senlinyu has cooked up some scenarios and things I could not imagine in the farthest recesses of my imagination. You can tell she put so much thought and effort into the world building, into Helena's story, into her narrative, all of the callbacks and their relations. Like, this book, like, of course there's nothing like a first reread. You will never get your first reread of a book back, but this is a book I'm actively like looking forward to rereading, because I, now knowing what I know, can see all the little hints that she was dropping and the clues, and how she so brilliantly like wove this for us to like kind of unveil together with Helena. Kane and Helena's relationship, I think I am right now not fully okay enough to describe what it has done to me. It is some of the most sad and yet beautiful things I have ever read. But yes, that is a jumble of the thoughts I have so far. I am going to go get my Panera, and I am going to come back, and I think we're gonna finish this book tonight. I am anxious. I'm anxious. I'm anxious for my mental health. I'm anxious for the potential book hangover I'm gonna have. And I'm anxious for my sanity. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. We have got the goods. I cannot believe I got this much food. I really did not mean to do such a big splurge. There were so many good deals though, and so many new stuff I wanted to try. Should we do a little mukbang? Should we do a little bit of a haul? Of course, we have our signature French baguette free side. Of course, the star of the show, the main event, we have our tomato soup and our grilled cheese. I get the you pick two deal. The soup comes with some like little croutons, but I personally like to dip the grilled cheese in there, as I'm sure any perfect person does. Yes, yes, yes. I was on my period this week, sue me. That's probably why I'm crying. Actually, over alchemized a lot. I didn't piece that together. Now I'm like sitting here thinking about it. Oh my god, maybe that's why this is also hitting me hard. Anyway, I got some, I think I want to say this is the dragon fruit refresher. Dragon fruit energy refresher. It's so pretty. Yeah, and that's good. Okay, and then going along with our huge big back meal, I got the mac and cheese. I don't know what it is about Panera mac and cheese. It does something to me. It really does something to me. Beautiful. Okay, I'm like taking like a bite of everything and like going and switching back and forth. This was very much needed though. This might be the highlight of the meal. Okay, let's go drive back home and read some more. It has been a few days and I finally finished Alchemized. I finished this a couple days ago actually, but I want to give myself a little bit of space. I think between me and this book to try to give as a less emotional review, I guess. I don't know. I feel like I've said at this point as much as I really can say. I think I've talked about a lot of the different aspects as to why this worked for me. One thing I saw a lot was, especially compared to Manacled, I know we were talking about the whole fan fiction of it all, if this stands alone without the original work. And at least to me, I would say yes. I would say if anything, in my experience, yes, I kind of knew, especially in the beginning, who was supposed to be who, like in the original HP universe, but trying to imagine that world with that magic system and those characters and placing it on these people, it was not all like a one-to-one match. There's a lot of differences. So I would say that you could read this without the HP of it all. In fact, I think it might hinder your experience, at least for me. And I just think their story was so beautiful. I think the love story was beautiful. Of course, it was a 5-star. This is like an infinity star book for me. It was amazing. I have legit not been able to stop thinking about it, but onward and upward, this is the exact type of book that could leave me with a huge hangover afterward if I don't pick up something else in pretty quick succession to like keep me going. So I have started our next book, and that is Dear Debbie by Freida McFadden. And so far I have been enjoying it. I've been reading it on my Kindle. I've just been flying through this book. I don't know if it's compared to Alchemized, like that monstrous book, but I feel like I'm flying through this. I just hit the 100-page mark. I'm 33% of the way in, and it is going good. So we're kind of following this seemingly like average middle, or I guess upper middle class family in the US. I would say our main character, or like the person that we are most interested in right now, is our narrator Debbie, and she is a housewife. She has her husband and her 2 kids, and her life is seemingly pretty perfect. They live in a really nice house. She stays from home and writes as an advice columnist, Dear Debbie, which is kind of all she does on the side, while her husband is this accountant and he supports the family, good school system. They have 2 daughters, Lexi and Izzy, and things should seemingly be perfect, but of course they are not. I should mention that we don't get just her point of view in this book, but we
get Cooper's and we get Harley's. I will explain who Harley is in a second, don't worry. But Cooper says that in the past 6 months that his wife has been acting a little weird, a little odd, a little strange. She's not been herself. And then we also have her daughters, and her daughter Izzy, she's like a big soccer kid and she just got kicked off her team, which seems really suspicious, especially because the coach of this team has rumors going around that he's been like really weird towards underage girls. And then we also have her older daughter Lexi, who is in this kind of like toxic relationship with her boyfriend. She's 17, and we could tell that this guy's like bad news and the mom does not have a good feeling about him. So we just have a lot of stuff going wrong, and juxtaposed with these chapters following Debbie in her life, we're also seeing Dear Debbie, like her column drafts. Like it's basically like women like writing in saying, oh, like my husband won't eat the food I make, or he won't let me have a credit card, or my children are so aggravating. And it's like Debbie giving her advice back. But you were seeing how unhinged Debbie is in these notes. It's like, oh, your husband won't eat his food? Well, maybe try a cooking lesson. Try a cooking class to raise your skills. But if that doesn't work, just put some antifreeze in his food and he won't have any complaints after that. There also seems to be some trauma in her past. I think we had some mention of something happening to her in college. We don't know what that is yet, but very interesting. Very interesting. Debbie definitely has some sinister stuff floating underneath. But I think it's also interesting to know that Cooper and Harley are not exactly immune to that as well. So like I said, Cooper is her husband. When we're in his point of view, he does seem to love his wife. Even though he's hiding the secret from her, which I think is an affair. And then we have Harley, which I said, again, I don't want to give too much away, but I think there's some stuff with her as well. I don't exactly trust this girl. She works at the gym that both Cooper and Debbie go to. I think she's going to play a bigger role in this than is let on, and I'm already not enjoying her narration. She is already pissing me off in her point of view chapters, and I'm kind of in the mood to keep going with the vibe. It is not the nicest weather out. It's a little bit cloudy, but it's not raining like it's been in the past couple days, and I kind of want to enjoy the sunlight. So I'm thinking I might go to a park. I might take y'all along with me and we can get some reading done outside. That might be fun. I think I'm gonna hop in the car, and I found a new park recently that's a little bit farther away from me like than I usually go, but I think it's gonna be really pretty. So we can go check out the views and see if we can find a nice little cozy reading spot. It's so pretty out. This park is like right up against a lake over here, and I love all the nature sounds, like all the birds. I am currently about to start chapter 43. I'm almost 200 pages in. I have 100 pages left. We just got dropped a huge bomb about Debbie, that mystery I was alluding to, about something that happened in college that like altered her, that made her a little bit psychotic. Of course, none of this excuses murdering people or poisoning people or harming people's homes and doing vindictive shit like we have seen. But you can't say that she doesn't have a reason. You can't say she doesn't have a motive, and you can't say that she's doing this nonsensically. Even if this is an extreme punishment, the people who she's enacting this vengeance on are assholes. So it's kind of like, can you be too upset? But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I'm getting pretty far into it. I think I might actually finish it while I'm out here, which is crazy to say, but I'm having a good vibe out here, and so I'm excited to continue. Oh my god. I just came back to the car. It was getting a little buggy outside. I don't know if it was close to the water, but there was a lot of like dragonflies and mosquitoes like in my face, like little gnats too, like all over my Kindle, and it wasn't. I am 75% of the way through now, though. I'm flying through this, and I keep saying that, but this has really been such a quick read. I was not expecting to be this far into it, and we have a lot of stuff happening right now. It seems like some of Debbie's family members are catching on to some of her antics. But yes, I have just over 50 pages left in this book, and I have like a half-hour ride home, so I think I'd rather just sit here for a second and try to wrap this up because it's been going so quick. Of course, things have been happening in the book, but now everything's kind of culminating together into one big boom. So we need to see what is going to happen. That shit crazy. She's going insane. Baby, you got some stuff with you. This is about to be wicked. No, this girl is done for. She's done for. I'm like sweating. I'm scared. I'm scared. What? How did she even do that? My camera just died, but I have like 10 pages left, and I need to get my reaction to this because I'm literally like gagged. I have had my mind changed as to what exactly happened at least 4 times in the past 30 pages. This is insane. Oh. Oh. There's still more. Like, it's still going. We're in the epilogue, and I'm still finding more and more out, and I'm just as disgusted. Wow. Whew. Okay, I just finished the book. That was a crazy ride at the end. Y'all saw me, I was floored, but that was good. It was a really satisfying ending. I think it really kind of came together in a way that I wasn't expecting, but also was very satisfying. I did try to predict some of the twists and turns, but everything just kept going back and forth and boomeranging between multiple people. Like, you never felt like you knew exactly what was going on, especially at the end. I was like, this is a crazy ride. I don't even know who's guilty or innocent. I think Freida McFadden also did an amazing job playing with the different perspectives, playing between Harley, Cooper, and Debbie, because like I said, they all had a different piece of the information, and I just love the way it all came together at the end, and she like played with our like feelings of like perception and what we thought was happening, but really it wasn't, because she was like using the different perspectives. Like it was really good. I literally just finished it, so I don't know if I could give it a rating yet. I think I would say like a 4.5, 4, around there. I really liked it. I finished it so quick. I think this was like, what, 2 sittings. I read some of it yesterday, and then I flew through it here at the park. My first Freida McFadden, I think it went really, really well. So yeah, I think I'm gonna give it a 4. Wow, I can't believe how quick that was. Okay, so I guess we are on to our last book. Hello, it is currently June 29th. We are on the last 2 days of our monthly reading challenge, which is so crazy. I cannot believe we have spent this long together. I feel like you've been through such a wild ride with me, such a crazy reading month. But we've done it, or we have nearly done it. I am definitely going to finish Project Hail Mary by tomorrow. That is our next book that we're going to be talking about today. I literally just talked about a bunch of these books in my recent video that I made, the book adaptations video. So I'd already had this on my eye, and I'm happy that we had an excuse to read it. So let's talk about my feelings so far as of reading. I am currently 110 pages in. This is a little bit under 500, so probably like 1/5. And I feel like I'm enjoying it very hesitantly. I think you guys need to keep in mind, first of all, that science fiction is not really my thing. I was really going through my Goodreads to like see like what's the last sci-fi I read, and I only have 5 marked as read, and only one of those is an adult sci-fi, which is Sea of Tranquility by Emily St. Mandel. So I guess that's quite literally the only adult sci-fi I read other than this. It's really not a genre I pick up often. I am not a science girl like in real life. It makes my brain hurt. Which I hate to say, because like I'm an intelligent person. I made it through college. Like, I'm not an idiot, but there's just something about science. I can't do it. So like a science book already is like slightly off-putting to me. I think just the way that the story is set up in general is like conducive to helping you figure it out. I guess let me explain. So our story is actually kind of similar to Alchemized in that I literally can't go 5 seconds without talking about it. I need to stop. But they are, because they are both like amnesia stories. Our main character in here, Ryland Grace, has lost his memories. He wakes up in this place. He does not know where he is. He does not know his name. Having some memories, but like not really. Like he knows how to do some stuff, but he doesn't know like the core of who he is. And I actually love the way Andy Weir is having us in his mind, figuring all this stuff out. Like for instance, like he'll be thinking about something, he's like, oh, I think this is like blank feet away from the ceiling. He's like, wait, I'm thinking in feet. I'm thinking in imperial terms. I must be from like the US or Canada or something. Like that's the way he's like unraveling who he is, and it's very smart. And we also are like understanding how all this is happening and going through it with him step by step. So he's like in this place, he doesn't know where he is. He sees 2 crew members next to him who have clearly passed away, so he's realizing he's alone. He's the only one that's made it. Basically, if I'm understanding it right, I'm going to try to explain it very simply because I don't even think I could get into like the science terms for real. But what the problem in this world is, there is basically a new type of extraterrestrial life, which again is very interesting how he's doing this, because if you would think of like extraterrestrial life, you think of like aliens, you'd expect like a little green guy like to show up, right? You wouldn't think of like little parasites or algae, but that's what these things are kind of compared to, like a microbe invasive species that is latching on to the sun's energy, as well as using some elements that are found on the planet Venus, and are reproducing at a really rapid rate and dimming the sun, which, if you don't know, we on Earth rely heavily on the sun and are very sensitive to its changes. Like even a 5% dimming of the sun is catastrophic for us. So this invasive species is found, and the entire world is obviously freaking out, and there is a team put together called Project Hail Mary, assigned to try to fix this problem. And our narrator, Ryland Grace, he is just right now like a science teacher. He kind of seemed like pretty unassuming, but he's specifically scouted by Strat, who's like the head of this task force. And so he is assigned to help experiment and test on these little things. They're called astrophage. Astrophage is, I think, what they refer to them, if I'm pronouncing correctly. So he's assigned to help not only research them and see what they can do, but also to help breed them, trying to mimic that on Earth so they can harness the astrophage as energy to go into the sky and complete the first interstellar mission in the entire world and send him to a different solar system. What solar system is this? It's called Tau Ceti is how I would pronounce it, I guess. It's another sun that they found that is seemingly unaffected by the astrophage, because that's the other thing about astrophage, is that it seems to be infecting other solar systems around them. Like you can kind of catch it like a disease, but this one has not. It has not dimmed. It's either found a way to block it or to reduce its dimming or whatever. So that is what Ryland is on this mission to do. He's on his mission to monitor and see what he can collect from Tau Ceti, but we're also trying to, of course, get his memories back, and we're also learning more about what happened in the past. And like I said, we've had nothing but hits so far in this video, so I am pretty sure this is going to follow along the same path. I don't want to jinx it, but I have a good feeling about this. So I'm gonna keep chugging along. I hope I explained that to the best of my ability. If there's any science heads that end up watching this, please do not come for me, okay? So yeah, I'm gonna keep reading, and I will see you guys tomorrow. We are here to talk about Project Hail Mary. I don't have the dust jacket. Let me get that. Here we are. Okay, so I am currently on page 378, so I have like a little bit under 100 pages left. I would have updated sooner, but stuff started happening and I didn't want to spoil, because I went back and read the like dust jacket, and from what I can tell in the synopsis, it really doesn't mention a lot of the stuff that happened after what I explained. Like everything else plot-wise is not revealed, so I didn't want to reveal it, especially because like the movie just came out and everything. Like I'm sure a lot of people are going to read this soon. But what I will say, there is alien life that comes into play other than the astrophage that we already talked about, and this alien life is a little bit more intelligent and is potentially able to help Ryland and the human race. So that has been happening for the latter half of this book. I was kind of slogging through this a little bit right after I started talking to you guys until this alien plot point kind of started picking up. I will say, and I know I already mentioned this before, but there's a lot of science jargon in this book, like a lot. Frankly, like a lot of it I don't understand, which all of the science that seems to be pertinent to the book, like plot, like really integral to the plot, does seem to always get like an extra explanation to make sure that we are comprehending. So for instance, they'll like complete an experiment or something like that, and I have no clue what they're doing in the experiment, but at the end he'll be like, oh, so this means this and this and this, which means that and that. I'm like, oh, okay, so now I know where we are oriented into the story. But there's a lot of it that is not explained, which again would lead me to believe it's not business critical to our understanding of the plot, but it is kind of a off-kilter reading experience if you don't understand everything that's going on. Like I'll be reading a page and they'll start talking about like electrons or neurotinos or whatever they are referring to, and I will have to read a paragraph like 3 times and I'm still not comprehending. This isn't bothering me too much. Like I really feel like I understand the broad strokes of the science. However, I do know that this will bug people. I think I saw like a goodreads review, something like that, and it's like this book is like just to show off and flex how smart Andy Weir is. I'm like, look, I know science stuff, which is not how I feel, but I understand how that can be felt. Overall, I still really am enjoying it. I just feel like, again, like some of the little details might get lost if you are not a science geek. But I have, like I said, a little bit less than 100 pages, and I am doing nothing but today but knocking this out. It's June 30th. It's our last day of the challenge, and so we need to complete this to finish off our video and our month of reading. So let's get to it. Just finished. Wait, that was kind of cute. I like that ending. I was kind of worried that it wasn't gonna end happily because the Project Hail Mary is supposed to be a suicide mission anyway. Like everyone on board agreed to end their lives in the effort to complete it. So I'm happy that it had a cute ending like that. That was really sweet. I think I'm gonna give this a 4-star. I really like that ending especially. Not every question is answered that you might have in the beginning. Like you don't get in-depth answers to how everything is resolved, but it kind of gives you an epilogue. And I liked seeing that. I think it kind of tied everything into a bow really cleanly. I really liked the prevalent friendship that ended up coming out of this book. And also we made a bunch of revelations about Ryland actually ended up on the ship because he lost his memory, so we're still getting all the information back, and he was unsure how he ended up on the ship. You know, he wasn't an astronaut, he was a science high school teacher. They recruited him because he had, you know, smarts, but he wasn't trained for space at all. And so getting that missing puzzle piece of how that happened also was very interesting. I think it told us a lot about his character, and I think it helped us see an evolution and growth in him over time. I don't know, I liked it. Yes, I read Sea of Tranquility, but this is like my first adult sci-fi proper, and I kind of enjoyed it, so that was a nice treat. And I guess that's the end of our vlog. This is crazy. Let me actually go get the rest of the books so we can do a little wrap up. I forgot how big this stack was. We really did our big one this month, let me tell you. Okay, in order from what we read, we had Good Spirits by B.K. Borison, which I gave a 4. Yesteryear, which I gave a 4.5. Alchemized, which I gave a 5, or an infinity, I guess you would say. It's a top favorite for me now. Dear Debbie, which I read on Kindle, and I gave a 4. And then Project Hail Mary, which we just finished, which I gave a 4. I would say this video turned out to be a huge success, actually. I literally liked every book I read. I found a new favorite book. I tried new genres I don't really pull from that often and enjoyed them. Like, this has gone pretty well. I guess it's safe to say that you can trust Goodreads for your book recommendations. And yeah, that is all from me in this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I just know this is gonna be a long one. So if you made it all the way to the end, I really do appreciate you. Let me know if you've read any of these books, what are your thoughts on them? Specifically, I would say Yesteryear and Alchemized. These are like my two biggest wins from the video. These are the ones I'd probably highly recommend the most out of anything, even though you can't really say I don't recommend any of them. They're all 4 or above, but these two especially, I feel like I had a lot to say about them and I want to hear your thoughts. But on any of the books I read in this video, tell me everything, okay? But yes, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed and I will see you in the next one. Bye. Mwah.